Hello and welcome. Well, tonight is our last show for this series, and I've loved bringing it to you, and I think you'll agree we've had the cream of the crop when it comes to New Zealand acting and theatre. So tonight I thought we'd bring you some highlights of the last 9 weeks. So what's your view, Michael, on the modernisation of classics in terms of not only the setting but the language, using improv of the actors to add to the script?
Okay, so I've done, I think the difference between what's going on at the moment with Chekhov and Bernard Shaw and those plays is that the modernisation of those, the adaptation, is changing the language, changing the vernacular, changing whole swathes of it. I don't know that can happen with Shakespeare. I think Shakespeare is Shakespeare. You look at the ancient Greeks, which is in a different language, and those things are in some senses modernized. But with Shakespeare, let's stay with that for a second, you need the great speeches because they're great. You can't improve on those great speeches.
But then you might get a director who disagrees with you and think, oh, I'm not that fussed on this, well, I'm going to improv here too.
But
where does it stop?
How are you going to do better than to be or not to be? That is the question.
But then some people might say, how do you do better than George Bernard Shaw or Chekhov or, you know?
But I agree with you on, I can see that argument. Bernard Shaw is a tough call. Nevertheless, he was long-winded. And you can cut Shakespeare. And let me say this. I sometimes do what I call shoehorn things in Shakespeare, where you do modernize, like, for example, there's a moment at the beginning of A Midsummer Night's Dream where you have to understand that the man who's coming in and railing and angry is angry because his daughter has been seeing this young man, and he points them out. But if you don't get that, and the hiss and roar of Shakespeare, you don't know who he is, then you miss that plot point. So when he came in and started saying, I am not happy, my lord, and started, I had her go, oh, Dad! I just added it in. So the audience went, Dad, right. So shoehorn them in.
Okay.
Also fools. Fools in Shakespeare are unintelligible unless you modernize them. They're just, by and large. And you have great fun with fools because they're anarchy. Oliver Driver in Twelfth Night that I did, I had him go, there's a crazy punchline where the fool goes, well, you know what they say, cucullus non facit monarchum. And of course, nobody gets that.
No.
You know? So I had Oliver go, well, you know what they say, cucullus non facit monarchum. Silence. He went, looked at the audience and went, cucullus non facit monarchum? Anybody? Anybody? Was funny in Shakespeare's day. Well, so you are doing that, and and you know, you look at the Globe. They'll have the Pop-Up Globe. I mean, there are the shows I've seen there. They have interaction stuff, which is modern.
Yes.
But you can't get it around, or would want to. No sane director could think he could write a better version of Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow Creeps in This Petty Pace. From
Well,
day
I
to
hope
day.
not. Okay, now this is a bit random, but I've decided to try and do some speed improv with Donna. And so we're going to do one word each, and the subject that she has chosen is how to pick up a guy.
So this is tips for everyone, okay?
Tips for everyone.
Tips for everyone.
Okay.
Do you want to start?
Yep, let's
Okay,
give it
go.
a How long are we going for?
Until the tip makes sense. Do you know what I mean? So, like, once it comes to a natural end, the sentence, then we go, yes, 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 yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Do you want me to start?
All right, yeah.
Okay. Always
Do
your
homework.
about
Picking
up
a
guy.
because
If
he
is
a
go,
yuck,
then
you
run.
don't,
Don't walk.
but
If
he
is
a
sexo, make
love
to
him
right
now.
yes, 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 yes.
So I'd been working for 11 years in New Zealand and doing theatre and film and television, and I decided I was doing a play down in the court, and I remember Albert Cooper saying, "You're not on television now, darling."
You're on in Guatemala now.
Yes, that comes later. And he was just, you know, he really was a bit rough on me. I love him, but he was a bit rough.
I hear he's a bit rough on a few people.
Yeah, and I just thought, I'm not speaking up for myself because I'm not feeling qualified. So I thought, well,
okay.
go qualify yourself, and that way, you know, that situation won't happen again. So I went to drama school. My partner at the time had studied with Dean Carey,
Yes.
who runs the Actors Centre, and he said, you'll love him. So I went to do the 1-year course and sent my audition in, and he said, since you're going to stop your career for a year, we've decided to make it worth your while. We've been wanting to make it a 2-year course. And so it's now a 2-year course. I went, oh, that's a bit different, isn't it? But I loved it, and every time I go see a school show at the Journey, I just want to leap back on stage and do the whole course all over again. But my intention was to start a theatre company, which I did, with 2 of my friends from drama school. And then this audition for McLeod's came up, and I thought it was a guest role, because my friend Laurie, who I did City Life with, had been on hold for Claire for 4 months. So I thought, oh, that's cool. I'll be able to A, earn some money since we're doing, you know, our own theatre, no money in that, and B, go see Laurie. So I did this audition and got a recall, and it was in the recall I realised it was for Claire. So I've
Brilliant.
been apologising to Laurie ever since.
Yes, she'd be a bit hacked off with you, I'd imagine.
Well, she's such a nice woman.
I'd be
and
hacked off with you.
I know, you
Yeah.
wouldn't speak to me for the rest
No,
of,
I wouldn't.
of your life.
You would be so dead to me.
But Lozzie's got a very big heart. And she went on to do an amazing role, which was a favourite in Australia on Home and Away.
Oh, okay.
She played a really amazing villain in it. And she was voted the best villain on Australian television.
Fab.
So,
Okay. Did you know how to ride a horse?
No!
Because
And
I saw a picture of you riding a horse. You look legit.
There were
You're
times.
sort of a real angle and going around a corner. and
That's my favourite picture.
That
I know
is
exactly
fab.
the one.
Yeah.
That was in a round yard.
it's
and
really good.
I know that was the one time that even when we got sent up, Bridie and I said I couldn't ride. I said I'd fallen off a horse, but I hadn't actually ridden it very long before it tossed me. So they sent us up for like a week's training, Bridie and I. And when we went back there about a year and a half later for Aaron's wedding, which was in the same area, the guy who trained me, Jim, said to me, oh, that show of yours, you know, for him it was like just babes on horses and boys, and he thought it was a joke. But he said, oh, but that bit in the round yard was all right.
Absolutely, that must have made you feel great. And of
did.
course, 2-time Logie winner. I hate you for that too. Yeah.
Gee, I'm too scared to work with you again now. Now they know the truth's coming out.
I mean, Logies are great because they're not your peers, they're the public. So that's what really matters, of course.
But what about, I mean, your career has just been amazing, hasn't it? Still is amazing.
Pretty good, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you've got a gong,
Yeah, oh, yeah. Isn't it funny what they call them gongs?
like your dad, he got a gong.
Yeah, you got a British gong, though.
Oh, British gong,
Yeah,
okay. I suppose I shouldn't scratch my nose like that in the middle of an interview, should I?
Why not?
So what was that like? I mean, was that thinking, hey, I've really made it? Or was
God,
it,
no.
my God, I feel like a fraud? Or, you know,
No, it was neither of those. I really didn't. It's an honour to get a gong.
Oh, it's massive.
But it's actually quite intimidating.
Yeah.
I felt quite intimidated, like when you turn up to Government House and it's all, you know, it's very flash.
I
And
bet.
it's beautiful, but I did feel quite intimidated, and other people were very, you know, academic intellectuals and stuff. And there was me in the midst of it, and I thought, how did this happen when I was a second year fifth?
Well, that's sort of what I'm
You know.
saying, is that sometimes, I'm sure that a lot of people, when they get, you know, Queen's Honours or whatever, they think, oh, golly, is this really happening to me, and how did I deserve this? Or
Yeah.
I did deserve it, but, you know, I didn't ever expect this.
Yeah, well, it sort of feels a bit like, well, for me, a kind of an artistic war medal for how much you've gone through.
Of course it is. I think it's absolutely brilliant. You know that you've featured in my 2 favourite New Zealand movies. Obviously, Breaker Upperers recently, Hunt for the Wilder People, and you had the best roles in both.
Oh, well, did I?
Oh yeah, I mean, to be the cougar by the swimming pool and saying let's have sex or let's make love or whatever, that was so hilarious.
Oh, good.
Did you love doing that part?
Yeah, but I was only on for 2 days.
I know, it doesn't
You know,
matter though.
yeah.
The
Yeah, I
impact
loved it. I
of
had
that.
a great time.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was really fabulous.
Lying by
working
the
with
pool.
Jackie and Maddie were great fun, and
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
yeah, we had a great time.
Graham, I want to make love.
And what about Bella? Do you think that is that one of the nicest roles that you've played?
On film,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
It was such a warm, loving, motherly role, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, she was such a kind person.
Yeah.
And it was such a shock when you carked it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well, it sort of was, wasn't it? In the plot. I mean, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah, people come up to me in the street and go, "Oh, I thought you were dead."
That's nice.
Yeah.
And was that just a fabulous experience shooting that?
Yeah. It was amazing. And, you know, it's always fantastic being outside in the countryside. I think we shot that stuff that I was in up in just past Puhoi.
Yeah.
So it was beautiful and remote and, once you're in the environment when you're shooting something, it really changes. The environment really influences, you know, your characterization.
You hungry? That's a silly question, isn't it? Look at you.
Ricky Baker, now you are 13 years old. You are a teenager and you're as good as gold. Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, happy birthday. Once rejected, now accepted by me and Hector. We're a trifecta. Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker, Ricky Baker. Hip hip!
Hooray!
Go on, blow out your candles.
Okay.
You gonna run away tonight?
Not sure.
No, it's cool with me. Just make sure you're back by breakfast.
Okay.
So happy we found you, buddy. Sorry it took so long.
Me too.
No, Ricky.
Not Auntie.
He's a genius typer, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Absolute genius. And he's just got that lovely unreadableness. You know, you just don't know what's going to come next from him.
Yeah, unpredictable.
Yeah. I prefer unreadableness.
Do you think
I just
so?
made that up. I think that's quite,
Unreadableness?
I reckon that's quite a good word.
Yeah.
So tell me about the green card process. That's amazing. Now, somebody told me, and I don't know whether this is correct, that in New Zealand you've got quite a good chance of getting one because every country gets the same allocation no matter the population. Is that right?
Yes, I believe so.
And how do you go about it?
You just enter online.
Really?
It's that simple. But
Wow.
well, I feel like it's simple now because I got it. But obviously, you apply online, you just put your headshot, like a passport photo, your name, and that's it basically.
Okay.
You get given a code. You have to check that, I think, the following year. So you have to log back on with that code that they gave you. You have to remember to do that. There's no
I hear
email
that.
saying you need to
So
check
did
it.
you go on and there it said, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I
And
bet
I
you
th-
screamed.
Well, I didn't really know what to. I was like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Like, have I just got the green card? And my agent is there emailing me going, yes, you've got the green card. You need to fill in all of these forms right now
Yes.
and hand it in tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'd been entering the green card lottery for about 7 years.
Oh, have you? Okay. And do you know other people who have got them?
This year I know 2 other people
Really?
from my agency, boyfriend and girlfriend. Lucky.
Oh, fantastic. From your
Yeah.
agent here in Auckland?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I say. I mean, you're the second or third person I know
Yeah.
who's got one. So it's not, you've probably got a better chance than winning lotto.
I think so, yeah. I mean, if 3 people, I mean, I know 2 people, so
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah. Let's briefly talk about So You Want to Be a Pop Star, because you and I were in that together.
Yes.
That was the most terrifying experience, I think, of my life.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You did so well, though.
Well,
I remember you backstage. I mean, you were pretty. You seemed pretty calm. There was, I think, the first night. I remember you looked at me and we had this one look at each other, and it was like, "What am I doing? Why have we done this?"
Exactly. You know, most jobs I do, I have that look. I look at somebody and think,
Really?
But I read a critique of So You Want to Be a Pop Star with me in it. And it said
You were brave.
said Louise Wallace says she cannot sing, but she looks terrific, and I was happy with that.
I thought you sang well.
I didn't
thought
really.
there was, there was a huskiness to your voice. There was something.
That was called Frog. Yeah.
And you always look great. So.
Let's just briefly talk about Shortland Street.
Yeah.
And
there's nothing brief about Shortland Street.
It's the sort of rite of passage for so many young actors, isn't it?
It is now. When we started out, of course, because it was right at the beginning stages, we didn't think it was going to be that.
No.
Because I remember when I was there in 97, our ratings dropped.
Really?
And we were wondering whether we were going to stick it out. And so then we went through this transition, actually it was 95, and then went through a transition of everything changed. The storylines got meatier. They had me sleeping with my sister, all that sort of stuff.
Well,
Remember that storyline?
what's the problem with that?
What's the problem with that? Good storyline, right? So
very realistic.
It's always good to go back to Christmas.
And weren't you
spend time with your family.
paraplegic at one stage?
I was a paraplegic for 6 months, and then they
Right.
realised that, 6 months in the storyline, and they realised that if they wanted me to continue on, I was going to have to walk again. So it's one of those miraculous, healing.
But totally believable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can walk.
So your spinal column just mended overnight.
Yeah, it was all in my head. You know what I mean?
Of course it was.
Yes.
Of course. Theatre corporate. How was that different to, say, the drama schools today? Because that was a living, working, breathing drama school, wasn't it?
It was, actually.
As opposed to a classroom.
Yes, actually, you're right. It was different in that...
I've just told you the difference.
No. But
I didn't need to ask you, actually.
The fact that there was the branch... We were the first students. There was me and Mark Hadlow and Sarah Pearce.
Oh,
Donna,
God,
Donna
Hadlow.
Rees.
How'd you cope working with him?
Well, we did really well. We kept him in a cage.
You'd have to.
No,
whip him. Yeah.
but so we were the first class, but in terms of a school. But at the same time, they already had a theatre and education wing, and they had the resident company wing. And so you knew when you started that you were about to perform next year here, next year there, if you were lucky. And so, yes, it was living, breathing machine of theatre, and that's never really been continued, actually. It was quite a good model.
What sort of age were you when you did that?
I was 25, nearly 26.
Do you think that's a good age to go to drama school rather than younger?
Yes, I do, but then everybody is different. I mean, some people are very ready at... I think 16, 17, 18 is too young because you actually need to get some of that stuff out of the way.
And
because it's very
you have to have life experience, don't you?
Absolutely. And you have to be able to be observant of other people. And at 16, 17, 18, you just...
Well, you're just on your cell phone the whole time, aren't you?
We didn't have cell phones.
No,
but yes.
no. So, in terms of Centrepoint, where you were artistic director, that was professional theatre?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It had been going since 1974. And it's still going now. So it's the only professional theatre outside the main cities. In fact, Dunedin has just closed theirs. So, and in Wellington, it's almost impossible to get a proper wage in Wellington.
I just
in
don't
theatre.
get that. Why is that? Wellington, I mean, for God's sake, it's not a town.
No, I know. And they call
What's that about?
Oh, I don't know. But they don't have, you can't book yourself into a theatre and then get paid a wage. No, it's all... share of the profits.
Yeah,
what
co-op.
profits?
A co-op, yeah, share of... I was going to ask you before also about the telly. I mean, you've done a lot of television, and I think you're one of these actors, and I don't mean to be rude, but you're always there in the major productions and with the best actors like Agent Anna and that sort of thing. But
when I work with you mean the best actors.
That's
yeah.
right, exactly. But possibly not a household name, but people will know you as a great performer.
Yeah, well, I think it's very difficult to do your job as an actor if everybody knows every single thing about you.
Yeah.
And I must be one of the few actors in New Zealand that works as a professional actor that hasn't done Shortland Street, and that's sort of something I think that's actually worked in my favour, in that I haven't had those sorts of roles that I will always be known for, because I've been lucky enough to work in a number of different things and sort of blend in.
Yeah.
not necessarily blend into the background, but
No,
it's just the fact that it's
not
like,
sort of second tree.
I think an audience going like, is he the guy from
Yeah.
the Mainland cheese ad a million years ago? It's like, yes, but yeah.
So you've worked with Vinnie Jones, amongst others, and you got a bit of a story about that, haven't you?
Well, I was in Mean Machine, which was an old Guy Ritchie produced movie. And I got a really actually nice part. And when I got up, I thought, great, it's my dream. I'm playing football, because I used to play a lot of football. And it's a really good part, and I get to meet all of these pros. And of course, Vinnie. And well, he turned out to be a bit of a character. There's a scene that we did together where we're having kind of a fight in the prison, where we're tied together and we have a drink and we have a fight. And I said, Vinnie, obviously we need to rehearse with the fight director, the stuntman, and for camera angles to get all that right. He went, yeah, I know that, mate. He said, but if we catch each other a couple of times, it'll be all right, won't it? I went, no, and actually, in right at the end of the fight, you'll see it. He picks up this cup that we were drinking from and cracks it on my head. Actually did it. And he went,
Whoa.
What did you think? That was funny. I went, oh, that was really funny.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah.
Thanks, Vinnie, for that.
Yeah, so there we are. Knocked some sense into me.
Yeah.
I'm in here for drunken assault.
Now, you go to a lot of parties, don't you?
I get invited to all of them.
You do. Don't you get sick of it?
No, I don't. And I don't go to all of them. I just get invited to them. But I pick and choose because it's business. So I go always with business in mind, because I always challenge myself to know why I'm there, who I can meet, who's worthwhile to actually get to know and have a lot of fun. And besides that, I'll go to an event because I'm interested or because my friends are hosting.
Why do you think people want you at their events? Other than the fact that, you're stunningly good looking and you're dressed beautifully and you've got a great personality. But, I mean, there's a lot of people
Isn't that
like
enough?
that. Well, yeah.
Isn't that
actually,
enough?
as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, you know what? I think, yeah, that is quite a good reason.
I think I'm quite famous, I've heard, for bringing the right people to a party. So I'll get invited to a party and I'll go, you know what, I know some other people that should go, because I'm quite happy to be a bridesmaid to someone else's success in an event. So I'll say, you should meet these people. And,
well, that's great. That's pretty magnanimous, because there aren't that many people who are like that, actually.
I'm confident in my own self. I'm like a tampon commercial.
Right. I did a tampon commercial. I did, in Australia. Yeah, that was my first sort of claim to fame in TV over there.
Really? Wow.
Funny you should say that. See, we just connect.
All the time.
How did you get into modelling?
I was discovered on the first day of university.
Were you?
So
at Auckland?
Yeah, I was walking up Queen Street and with my sister, who's extremely beautiful, and her friend Emma, who's also a very beautiful young lady back then. And, oh no, back then.
Yeah.
I haven't seen her now.
Yeah. Hope she's not watching.
And 2 Americans approached me and said, would I consider modelling? And then after that, I just kept getting asked. I think they were looking for the new wave of models, which was in 1991, very ethnic. They were looking for more exotic as opposed to the sort of military Eurocentric look.
So the Indianness and the exotic, it's obviously helped.
28 years later, I'm still working.
Yeah.
It was amazing, bankable, and I just instantly sent overseas. I was making such good money that I said to my parents, I'm going to leave university and I'm going to be a full-time model. And my parents, I expected them, maybe a part of me hoped that they would say, you will stay at university. They said, good,
Really?
And they challenged me. They said, if you're going to do it, be the best in your job.
Okay.
And so, and I remember going back to my bedroom, lying on my bed, horrified that they did that to me. And I said to my mum the other day, I said, why did you do that to me? And she said, we gave you a long rope.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it certainly worked out for you. What are the best doors that have opened for you?
I think the best doors that have opened for me are the doors I've opened for myself, because there's a lot of self-satisfaction when you win over situations which you necessarily thought that you couldn't win. So I think I've always wanted financial freedom, and I've always wanted the freedom to travel anywhere I wanted at any time, and I have that.
Mm.
And I actually love the potential to want new things, because I think that in order to grow as a human and be youthful like yourself as an actor, is to actually challenge yourself to just go for new things, new opportunities all the time.
And it keeps you young and it keeps you relevant. Well, young in your own mind. It obviously doesn't keep you young, but it keeps you...
But who wants to be young? I think be young at heart. But I don't. People have said to me ridiculous things like, you can never be 25 again, Colin. And I'm 46. I would never want to be 25 again, ever. I only want to be
I don't know.
46.
I wouldn't mind. I think 25 would be pretty good.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I really do. I think it'd be good. But do you feel that really it was outrageous, that really changed your life and put you on the map?
100%.
What a fantastic role that was.
I know. I just feel so lucky to have been part of the show, that when we started we had no idea it was going to be what it was.
So big.
Yeah, and it was such a formative time in my life. I did it from when I was 20 to 26, and yeah, I feel it really gave me a career. I mean, I had worked consistently before that, but as a child, so it's a very different thing to be able to have a career as an adult.
Now, somebody told me that you'd given birth 5 times on screen. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How have you done your research for that?
Oh my gosh. Well, the first time was when I was 14 on a TV show called The Tribe, which almost meant that my parents didn't let me do the show because they felt it was not appropriate content for me to be part of. But eventually, after consultation with the producers, they said, okay, I could do it. So for that one, I think I just talked to my mum a lot. I talked to the makeup artist who I was close to, and she'd had children, but I don't remember watching any footage of births.
Any
I think
gory
people,
details.
Yeah, people probably thought that wasn't appropriate for me. But when I gave birth on Outrageous Fortune, I watched a lot of footage, and I guess there was just more out there on the on the internet. Whereas, when was the internet? The Tribe was 1998.
God, that's a good
Was there
question.
the internet then? Maybe there wasn't even.
1998. I'm not sure, actually.
Because I don't remember having that available to me. But anyway, by the time Outrageous Fortune rolled around, there was the internet.
Yeah.
Because it was in about 2007 or 8. And it's surprising how many people upload their own birth videos onto the internet, Louise. Yeah. So it's a hive of information.
It's been great to have your company. Really look forward to next season, and please keep supporting New Zealand theatre. I'm Louise Wallace. Good night.